This is Stacy Marshall with Printware Magazine.
Matt Vassallo with the WritingStoneWorld.com.
Richard Greaves with ScreenMaking.com.
Brian Walker with RTP Apparel.
You are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
And
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Keep on listening.
I don't know if these guys are that regular.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday, January 3rd, 2020. And wow, 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, Terry, we are going to our annual. I think we've been doing this since we started the show nearly 8 years ago now. Our annual 10 things we'd like to see in 2020. I don't think we've been doing 10 things we'd like to see in 2020, but the next year.
But let's go back 8 years and see what we thought.
Yeah, exactly. But we will go back 1 year and see what we thought last year. So that'll be fun. So yeah, this is always a great show, and it's great to be back. So thanks for holding down the fort while I was in crazy town.
Right.
And thanks very much to Eric, who's actually working the background. In fact, I don't know what to do with my hands here today, so just bear with me. We'll be. Thank you so much, Eric, for handling everything in the background there, making this even better show. So appreciate that. And Terry, we get to talk to Pete Lovelace today, who's the general manager of Booster Spiritwear, and he's going to help give us some more information about the ThreadX 2020 coming up in Scottsdale, Arizona, someplace you're familiar with there, Terry. So looking forward to talking to Pete here in just a little bit too. But Terry, how about some news items to get us started here today?
Yeah, absolutely. To start off 2020, everything's going to be new today, everyone.
Yeah. So real quick, Terry, I do have to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I have a personal trainer because I've got a lot of work to do on myself here in 2020, but I was working out on New Year's Day at noon. I said, we can't do it early in the morning, but and he was full of jokes, but my favorite joke that he had that day was, boy, 2019 seems like just yesterday. So okay. Wow,
so that guy has kids, obviously. That was definitely a dad joke.
That's the sad part. He is not a parent, but he is a professional wrestler, though. So if that helps at all. So there you go. Anyways, I apologize. So Terry, what's happening in 2020 here?
Well, Stalls in Sterling Heights, Michigan, is offering a hands-on workshop Wednesday. It's a class in February. It's called The Complete Guide to Start Heat Printing Team Uniforms, which discusses the latest trends for heat printing team uniforms. The class is going to be February 12th, covers the latest different heat transfer methods and which one is best for the type of uniforms you're decorating. And this is very timely, to get ahead of the spring season. There are also going to be some tips and tools for successful printing, sales, and how to solve top challenges. The sessions are going to be in multiple locations. It's going to be at the Stalls location in Arizona, California, Michigan, Ohio, and the Texas locations. And of course, we'll get the link up on our website and here on the Facebook broadcast right away. And I saw Eric in there copying it off of the.
It's already in there. You can see it in the comments right there. There we go. It's
perfect.
Up. And sorry, I was giggling while you were reading that because all of the comments about my bad joke. And then Todd had a follow-up joke. And he said, "What did the janitor say jumping out of the closet?" And supplies. Thank you, Todd.
Well, Todd is proudly a dad joke guy.
yeah. His company, Fat Dad Custom Design. So it's really cool about the stuff going on with Stalls there. They're always putting out great education and content. In fact, a friend of the show, Josh Ellsworth, has been promoted to senior VP with Group Stalls, and he is just doing a ton of great stuff. In fact, he's got a new podcast out. So I have not had a chance to check that out yet, but I'm looking forward to it. In fact, our own Eric Combs. I'm putting you guys together. Our own Eric Campbell.
Just one guy.
Just one guy. You guys were both on the show. So our own Eric Campbell was actually on that podcast with Josh. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out in my available time here. So But next week, Josh is joining us here on the show to talk about predictions and opportunities in heat printing in 2020. So looking forward to having Josh on. So good stuff there. Terry, I wanted to share about, and thanks for pulling all this information together for us, CorelTrainer.com, our good friend Clay over there. And Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is where he's located. He recently debuted a training program that is designed to use inside of CorelDRAW. So it's actually a plug-in software that is an A to Z training program that has 26 initial steps to allow any Corel user advancements beyond a beginning level. The final class is a live certification test with CorelTrainer.com. Users can access hundreds of hours of beginner, intermediate, and live classes taught throughout North America. So CorelTrainer.com will display the software in the Teachers Lounge, booth 3518 at the Impressions Expo event in Long Beach, California. There on January 17th through the 19th. And we will be doing a lot of stuff with Clay and Corel Trainer there at the DAX shows as well. So definitely check that out. New fun stuff from Clay there. So I'm excited to see that Corel training happening there.
Absolutely. Aaron, before we dive in, we want to thank everyone who's checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. And if you're listening to the podcast version, we would really appreciate you sharing with your friends so they can become regulators too. Plus, we would love and appreciate you giving us a review at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever it is you're listening. And we are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know has an idea for a show, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2 regular guys. And with any show ideas you have, and you might be a future guest. And if you're watching us,
we're filling it up already, Terry. I apologize to jump over the top of you there, but I think we just have one date in January available and are already starting to fill up into February. So let's get the right people in front of us, and we're going to be working on shows. Let us know what shows you want to hear too. So
absolutely. Hey, even if you're not going to be a guest, we would love to have your show ideas, because a lot of the shows we've done over the past nearly 8 years have been based off, listeners saying, "Hey, I would love to hear about this subject." So
yeah, totally.
We love to reach out and find somebody that'll come on and be a guest on and talk about that, or maybe it's just you and me, Aaron.
Yeah, we can do that.
Exactly. Hey, if you're watching us live right now, join in the comments and with your comments and questions. Eric's over there sorting through them and popping up on the screen for us. And reach out to all your industry friends right now, especially the ones who were busy for Christmas and just kind of putting their feet up right now and relaxing. We would love to have them join into the show as well. And with that, Aaron, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Impressions Expo.
What is Impressions Expo? Impressions Expo, formerly known as ISS, is the premier trade show dedicated to the imprinted and decorated apparel industry. They have 5 shows that are produced annually in each region of the United States, including Long Beach, California, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Orlando, Florida, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and cap off the year at Fort Worth, Texas. Each of those 5 annual shows also feature over 30 seminars and hands-on workshops in categories such as screen printing, embroidery, digitizing, digital decorating, and much, much more. Visit impressionsexpo.com for more details, and while there, use the promo code REGULARGUYSIE for a free expo pass. Again, make sure you visit impressionsexpo.com to get more details. And the Two Regular Guys look forward to seeing you there.
All right. Well, thanks again to our friends at Impressions Expo. Aaron, I don't know if you've noticed it, but a lot of people promoting the show, it'll, like the first paragraph, it'll say, "See us at Impressions Expo." And then the copy will be like, "At the ISS show, we're doing this and that." So
they haven't quite caught up all of the copy yet.
It's like making that transition from 2019 to 2020. I have certainly caught myself writing 2019 multiple times over the last couple of days. So it's the same kind of deal.
Nice. So thank you for the comment there, Christine. Much better audio on the ISS video, and the narrator sounds familiar. Yeah, that was
plus you can say the word regulator, unlike our paid announcer that could not quite say that word.
Fiverr works sometimes it does not. So. You get what you pay for, right? Good stuff there. All right. Well, thanks very much to the Impressions Expo and their support of the show on in through 2020 here. We are really excited about what they've got going on. Tons of great education. Long Beach is always the premier show of the year to get everybody kicked off and excited. Terry, I know you guys are probably planning like crazy over there at Equipment Zone to make that quite a splash there, like everybody else. In fact, I keep seeing all these, great things are going to be coming. So we'll see if we can kind of scoop some info here. I'm sure we'll get some great stuff from Josh next week for sure. So good stuff there. But thanks to them. But Terry, let's bring in a guest here real quick before we get into our 10 things, because I also want to talk about the ThreadX event coming up here real soon as well. So bringing in Pete Lovelace, and he's the general manager with Booster Spiritwear. So Pete, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. Hey, Pete, we know you're new to SGIA's apparel committee, but I also know that you attended the previous two ThreadX events, and which is right around the corner, everyone, February 23rd through 25th. So, tell us a little bit about the lineup of speakers this year.
Yeah, so we're back for our third year. The inaugural conference was in Palm Springs, and then we're in San Diego last year. This year we're in Phoenix, Scottsdale. So always a great setting and a great environment for these conferences. And what I love about ThreadX is it's this awesome cross-section of industry experts, not just decorators and owner shop operators, but we've got brand experts, we've got marketers, we've got e-com experts, we've got apparel manufacturers, and it provides a really unique, intimate setting for all of these constituents, all of the experts in their space to come together and really just collaborate around what does it look like to kind of blaze a trail for your business in the future, and how to leverage some of the key competencies and strengths and all these different niches to make your business more successful with your clients and with your team members. So I'm excited, and every year kind of has a little different feel to it. This year, I think it's great because there's a lot more panel discussions, which is going to allow us to provide a lot more perspective in the 2 days that we have together. I guess 3 days. So a couple of people I'm really looking forward to. Aaron Draplin's coming back. You haven't heard this guy. He is a powerhouse. He's dynamic. He's edgy. He's worked with everybody from Pulitzer Prize winning authors to presidents of the United States, bringing graphic design into the forefront of really every industry in America and making it a real defining feature of what they do and how they resonate with their clients and constituents. We got a great panel discussion. We got Chris Burnett from Vapor Apparel. We got Brett Bowden there this year talking about SGIA and sort of the evolution and the transformation of SGIA and how it serves the decorating industry. And then I think the session with Jay Baer, who's going to talk about hugging your haters, is going to be awesome. I think a lot of us, as we kind of tread into this world of social media and online reviews, it's scary and it's unknown. I think we tend to run from the conflict, and we don't want to appear incompetent, or we don't want to appear in any way as though we don't have everything perfect. But actually hugging your haters and realizing that you can build a better, more loyal relationship with your clients when something does go wrong, and you recover the right way and you handle it with integrity and handle it with excellence, is a really important feature to client engagement and client satisfaction. So he's going to talk a lot about how to do that in a healthy, constructive way. So
that's going to be awesome. Yeah, I mean, a huge lineup of, like I said, Draplin is just an incredible guy, speaker, and yeah, I mean, you sit on the edge of your seat kind of listening because you don't know, like I said, he's a little bit edgy. So, you could get some really cool stuff coming out of him. And then Jay Baer, boy, that's a huge draw. I've every time he puts out a book, it's one of the first things I download on Audibles for sure. So, so Pete, what basically, we talked about the fact that you've been to both of these. Terry and I have as well. And actually, I'm really bummed that we actually didn't get to meet in the first two. So we're going to make sure that happens here at in Scottsdale. But why would you encourage people to attend? Like you said, it is a little bit different. But what's been the draw for you personally?
I think the draw has just been it allows all of these different disciplines and knowledge areas to come together. And up until this point, I've been to Impressions, I've been to Printing United, and they all do a great job with showcasing a particular area of the industry. But this is the one conference where I think it allows some of the walls or barriers to be taken down and really create a cross-functional collaborative setting. It's small enough to where you get time with everybody there. There's a good balance of content and social time, from lunches to dinners to workshops. So I have a much broader perspective of the industry and where some of the areas that we haven't really even tapped into lie to move our business forward. And so I think at the root of this is this kind of entrepreneurial drive that hopefully we all have, regardless of the size or dynamics of our business. It allows us to really tap into that and realize, hey, we can be doing more on e-com, or we can be doing more in traditional areas of marketing, or gosh, we've been producing for all these brands up until now, but what would it look like if we actually had our own brand? And this is the one place where you can actually get access to somebody who's an expert in that space to help you figure out how to take the first step in that direction.
Cool. Okay. Well, so Pete, tell us a little bit about Booster Spiritwear, and then where people can find you and where people can find ThreadX 2020.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Booster Spiritwear has been in business for 6 years, so we're still relatively young, nimble business, but we've had incredible growth, and we've been blessed in a lot of ways. And so we're about a $7 million a year annual company, annual revenues. We cater mostly to the school space. So we work with 3,600 elementary and middle schools all over the country. We actually ship orders out to all 50 states, but we're headquartered just outside Atlanta, Georgia. And this is just a big year for us, as we're doing a lot more in paid media and online presence with a new e-commerce platform. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about ThreadX, is helping me to sort of understand what's out there for us in 2020, and hopefully anticipate some of those challenges and learn from some of the people who've gone before us, so that we can continue to grow our business healthfully and serve schools and strengthen schools, and hopefully hire on more team members. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking about, is how to launch and build a virtuous culture inside an organization that really allows people to go beyond just a job and a paycheck and live into a bigger purpose for themselves and for the business.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Wow. Okay. Right on. So
Pete, I'll tell you, as kind of foreshadowing of February, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Scottsdale, Arizona, as it almost always is.
Nice.
Well, keep that sun around for us. If anyone's looking to learn more about ThreadX, SGIA website has a great feature on it. They can go to SGIA/events/ThreadX. Everything is there. They've got profiles on every speaker. They've got the agenda listed out from start to finish, what's happening every day. And again, I really encourage the print community to take the initiative to go to this conference. There's really nothing like it. And I think you're going to come back really inspired, but also equipped to do something different and to move your business forward, whether it's your people in your business, it's your business model or strategy, or it's a new capability that you've thought about but haven't really known how to take the next step. You're going to figure out how to if you attend ThreadX.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Pete, thank you so much for your time today. I'm looking forward to, like I said, meeting you face to face in Scottsdale. And I think, Terry, we could probably come up with a couple of really awesome shows with Pete. So
I believe we could.
We'll be reaching out, sir.
And guys, I was inspired by your dad jokes. Can I share one with you?
Yes, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's one my kids told me the other day. How do you get a tissue to dance?
Don't know.
I actually know this. But go ahead.
You put a little boogie in it.
Dad jokes. I love it. 2020 is the year of dad jokes, Terry. I love it.
There you
Pete,
go.
thank you so much. That was
Got it.
awesome talking to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Pete.
That was great. That was awesome.
Fantastic.
And we get a dad joke out of the whole thing,
I
Terry.
know.
How
I
awesome
know.
is that?
Maybe that's what we do in 2020. Give us your best dad joke before you.
Yeah, that's going to be a requirement to come on the show with us. All right, good stuff. Put a little boogie in it. Terry, perfect. So yeah, I think we're all stoked. We're stoked about. I mean, what a great way to start out 2020 here. We're going to start off with Impressions Expo, their brand new brand. Same great show, but branding. So I'm sure there's going to be like just a ton of new cool stuff happening there at Impressions Expo. And then you get to bounce right over to Scottsdale from there and hang out.
We have Dax in the middle with some new things there as well, with some panel discussions, that sort of thing, hosted by the two regular guys.
Nice. So great stuff. And we're excited to get out to Scottsdale, and we're excited to be a part of all this stuff. And like I said, all sorts of great stuff. But Terry, let's you got your crystal ball handy there? You can
I do.
off and let's make this happen. But Terry, why don't we start off by talking about what we shared last year and kind of see what came to fruition and what where we missed the mark a little bit, and then we'll jump into the 10 things we'd like to see here in 2020. So I guess I'll start off, Terry.
Okay.
So I did, let's see, the first thing I said was business plans. I'd like to see our industry become the leading industry of companies that have business plans. So, you've been
working hard on that. So
I have put out some things, and I will continue to really push for that. Oursuccessgroup.com is, we're going to be talking about that quite a bit there, and we always talk about it here on Two Regular Guys. So we'll keep making that happen. I said education on a bigger scale. How about a 3 to 6 week boot camp supported by printers? I don't think we've seen that quite yet, but I would say that as an industry, we are definitely doing a way better job, kind of focused on education, through the folks at Impressions and SGIA and DAX and NBM and all of that, plus lots of other great educational opportunities coming up across. I think people are sharing more. The whole, keep it tight to their vest thing seems to have eroded from back in my early days and your early days for sure too, Terry.
Oh, for sure.
So good stuff there. Let's see. Next, let's see here. Next one was some discussion, understanding of the commoditization of our industry. Amazon merch, Printful, etc. Not skilled printer, but skilled sellers of commodities. So, I guess that was really more about, how are we looking at what our service is, how our perceived value versus, here's a shirt and you're $5, so I'm going to be $4.99 and that kind of thing. So,
right. And print quality there as well.
Yeah. Making staying a product that's not just, like a roll of toilet paper. Right. Well, toilet paper is actually not a good one, because you could have soft stuff. You could have, but how about a gallon of gas, or something like that? There we go. Right. All right. And then the last one I had was flex our muscles as an industry. The market is big. Everyone is selling merch, yet we act as a small niche industry who just makes do with what we have. And I think SGIA and Printing United probably was big in that, bringing a bigger look feel. Obviously, they're bringing in some pretty big names into ThreadX and stuff like that. So I feel like we did a pretty good job on that one, actually, Terry. So,
absolutely.
There you go. And then do you want to share what Eric had for us? Eric's working in the background today, but he joined us last year.
Exactly. Eric wanted to see a better communication and understanding between commercial and cottage embroidery business spheres. And I thought that was a really interesting take, because obviously embroidery is not our forte. So that was interesting for Eric to bring that up, and it made perfect sense. He also wanted to see more fundamental embroidery and digitizing education. We're always talking, maybe 2020 is the year of of decorating education,
Yep. And I think we made some big steps last year for sure. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. He says not only in the commercial world, but in schools and maker spaces, akin to what we've seen happen in secondary programs with screen printing and other industries. So some very good points. Mine were, I wanted to see some innovation in the application of pre-treat in the DTG arena. I would say that we're probably in the same place we were at the beginning of 2019, but there's hope for 2020.
and we'll talk about that.
I also said I would love to see an inkjet company offer a desktop sublimation printer that uses far less expensive liter bags or bulk ink as opposed to the small cartridges. And guess what? Epson at Printing United in Dallas just a couple of months ago introduced just that machine. So, and I'm going to just go out on a limb and say they were listening to our program and based that decision
I would say
on our
so.
recommendation.
I'm pretty sure Epson does all of their market research based on the Two Regular Guys podcast. So.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
I also wanted to see videos posted, 2 to 5 minute videos, shop tours, and I suggested anyone listening, do a shop tour video. I'm going to say that. Hey, nobody sent us a video of their shop, but I think that more and more people are doing that this year, and it's the story of your business, and I think the buy-in to that whole concept is going fast and furious. So I'm gonna count that as something that we wanted to see that we really are starting to see, and. My last one was I wanted to see or accomplish some more online training opportunities for myself. And I didn't actually add any new online training, but Aaron, I did revise my screen printing book and my DTG book. I haven't actually posted them yet because, well, let's be honest, I wanted them to say copyright 2020 as opposed to 2019 because I actually did those revisions over Thanksgiving the week after. And so anyway, that's those were the thoughts that I had. And while we are before we start 2020, let's take a break and hear a word from our sponsor, Printavo.
Let's talk organization. Keeping your shop organized is crucial to growing your screen printing business. Printavo helps thousands of shops keep their teams on the same page and look professional to their customers. If you're always getting tapped on the shoulder with questions, missing order due dates, or just ready to get to the next step in your shop, Printavo is your solution. Printavo allows shops to create consistent quotes, automate quote and art approvals, schedule jobs, collect payments, and now create online stores, all inside one platform. Being cloud-based, you can even use Printavo from home and with remote employees too. Printavo has a free trial and demo which you can sign up for at their website, printavo.com. Check out printavo.com for more details and tell them the Two Regular Guys sent you.
That's right. Well, thanks to good friend of the show, Bruce Ackerman, and all the folks over at Printavo for their support. And as Aaron said, make sure that you check out their software and be sure that you tell them that the Two Regular Guys sent you over there. That's two, the number two.
Yep, two, the number two. Cool. All right. So a couple quick comments, Terry, before we dive into the 2020 list here. Cindy King had mentioned over on our YouTube channel, actually. So yeah, you can check us out on YouTube as well. Good idea, Eric. I do belong to a group that has both home and commercial embroidery, OML University. In fact, we've had Sue Brown on the program with us, and might be a good idea to ping Sue. And then Christine has a great comment. I think 2020 would be a great year to expand decorating education and to get more women to get out there as educators. We have some great women already doing that, but we could always use more. So yeah, and I think Christine has been a huge driving force in all of that. She's got a great group, and she mentioned earlier in the program that we've got to get the first quarter 2020 Women in the Industry podcast lined up and going. So good stuff there. Let's see. I think that's a good one. But Terry, the other thing I wanted to so we shared this out there, and when I say we, I mean Eric. It worked his butt off and shared this program out on the Facebook world. And one of the comments that was out there that I wanted to share, a gentleman named Joseph Tavara, who we've actually had on the show, Terry, good friend of ours. He said, something I'd like to see for educating people getting into the business this upcoming year is a reality check. The reality that doing this is as a business isn't for everyone. Doing this requires hustle and hard work to build the brand, the products, and overall business. Too many times I see salesmen, predatory salesmen like Terry. No, just kidding.
Hey.
Sorry.
That's another whole story.
Yeah, that's a whole long story. Too many times I see salesmen at show telling people how this quote unquote machine is going to make them money and turn them wealthy. If you're a hustler, yes, but you think this equipment is magic and simply prints money, then you're greatly mistaken. When I see this at shows, I feel super bad for those people. They're about to drop $5,000 on a system and then turn around and sell it on Craigslist for $2,000 6 months later. So now for people doing this as a side hustle to make a few extra bucks or even as a hobby, I'm all about it. Educate them, show them the potential, and let them run with it. But to make someone think they can just quit their job, open a shop, and start making millions, these salesmen aren't doing anything positive for their community. Can it be done, though? Yes, it just takes someone special with the drive to make it happen. So thought that was great. So just a little more reality check there. And I joke with Terry about being a predatory salesman, but I think this is actually what's made you so successful over all these years, Terry, is that that's not the way. You are realistic with people. You give them all the information. You know, it's not a magic bullet that's going to save their life and world. But it is a tool that, if used correctly, can actually make you money. But yes, you do have to build a business. You do have to, get customers. You do have to do all of these things. You can't just, in your case, you can't just add a direct-to-garment printer and immediately think that you're going to be a bazillionaire. But you could.
Well, the very, very quick story on that is I walked into the back of a seminar Greg Kitson was putting on once, and right when he was talking about be careful of predatory salesmen, and then he goes, like Terry. But he did pull back and say, I was just kidding about that. But the timing was perfect. And of course, we went back to the booth and made a shirt because, you can do that.
That's what you do with my picture garment machine. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I knew where the heck that shirt was. I don't know. Me too. Well, hey, guess what? We can make another one.
Exactly.
All right, Terry, we'll start us off. Where do we start with what we want to see in 2020 here?
Okay. My first one is back in early 2019, there was all kinds of buzz in the industry about printing 100% polyester on a DTG printer. And there were going to be these new pre-treats. There are going to be these new inks. And yes, there have been pre-treats coming out. There are some inks out. But I have to tell you, I have been sorely unimpressed by both the printing results and more importantly, the washability. The steps required to do this process are a deterrent to making money. So, so here's my thought. In 2020, I would like to either see somebody come up with a way to print on a DTG printer, because, hey, we're printing with water-based inks, inks that aren't necessarily made for printing on a fabric that are going to repel water. So I'm going to say I would either like to see somebody successfully print and economically and profitably print on a polyester garment, or let's all just say, you know what? In the niche for DTG printing, it's best suited for 100% cotton and high cotton content blends, and that's where it should be. So that's I'm throwing down the gauntlet.
There you go. So,
either make it work or say, okay, you know what? 100% cotton is your best substrate.
All right. So as Epson's listening in, now's time to make your decision, and we'll see what you guys come out with at what Printing United or whatnot. But
right.
All right, cool. Well, that's good stuff. A couple comments here. Back to what we were talking about with the reality check. Christine said, so agree with the idea of a reality check. I've talked about this in the past. It's a tough business. And it's a lot different than most people think. Being your own boss requires a lot of grit and willingness to work very hard. And then she follows that up with, as Terry says, starting your own business gives you the freedom to work all hours of the day, every hour of every day. So, yeah,
Exactly.
I've stole that many times, Terry, and for some reason I still give you credit for it. But we'll see. 2020 might be the year I just take credit for it myself. And then Todd says the best way to make $1 million in this business is to start with $2 million. Nothing happens overnight, and you got to work at it. So, yeah, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Tanya has another good one. Amen. And you can't do it just because you buy a Cricut and like the idea of sublimation. Having fielded so many questions by friends who like the idea of doing what I do. And yeah, that's, and she says, sure, if you don't like to sleep, go for it.
That's like all your friends who say, you know, I've been thinking about writing a book too.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, everyone is thinking about writing a book.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Terry, I don't know if I told you I'm thinking about writing a book.
No, you didn't.
But you knew it. Kidding. All right. So I'm going to keep it going on the product side here, Terry. I'll admit that I'm certainly a bit further removed from the cutting edge of things, as I'm not out there as much as you are in the day-to-day of what's going on in the equipment world. But I still would like to see some more innovation on the sublimation printing side. I know you talked about Epson coming out with a printer that I think that's a really great step there, their new printer. But I still think there's ways to go if we want to kind of, break into that. I don't know. Sweet spot seemed to be when I was actively involved in that $500 range. So I don't know what that new printer sells for, Terry.
It's about $2,500.
About $2,500. Mm-hmm. Again, not bad for a business investment, but if you're going to see people kind of get out into the bigger picture world with sublimation, then I think we still got a little ways to come down on that. And the ink prices are just a challenge. I think Epson does do a good job, but I still see way too many people that are buying just really cheap ink and saying that they're a sublimation printer and putting out a lot of products that don't look so great because the ink's not so great and their press is not so great. And so just I'd like to see a lot less converted printers out there in the sublimation world, and a lot more purpose-built printers for sublimation. And again, kudos to Epson for taking that step. I know Sawgrass has always been kind of the leader in that field, and so we'll see what happens here. But sublimation, I think, is going to have some really big changes this year. The craft market is going to get into sublimation like they did in the vinyl world. So, just kind of be ready. And how are you going to set yourself apart and not become the commodity that it could become? So that's what I think about sublimation, Terry. So
super.
If you have any feedback on that?
Well, yeah, and I agree. And we've been talking about this. I think everybody's been talking about it for a long time. It's you see that desktop printer. And you say, wow, that's super cool. Look at all the cool things you can do. And then you start buying ink cartridges. You go, man, am I making any money with this?
Yeah, exactly.
And not to mention the issues you run into with a converted over printer, putting a different ink system through there that print head was not meant to accept. And there's some costs involved in maintenance and that sort of thing that people don't see when they see that, hey, it's only $800 or whatever to get involved. So, but then the bridge though is an $8,000 large format sublimation printer. So that middle ground is fertile ground for somebody to work on. And as we just said, Epson has made a shot at that, and middle priced as well.
No, that's actually a really reasonable price, but certainly think that there's still probably room underneath that for a good printer with good ink.
Sure, absolutely. All right. Well, my next point
Yeah.
is hey, it's the year of education. Remember, we've already dubbed it that 2020 year of education. I would like to see more training, more discussions, more tips and tricks on dealing with employees, and and maybe that means me writing some more articles, the two regular guys doing a show or two on the subject, or anything along those lines. But I think learning to deal with employees is a weak link for a lot of businesses, and you just cringe when you see the attitudes people I had. I mentioned this on the show a couple of weeks ago. Somebody said to me, "Well, you know what it's like having employees," and I joke about that, but it's a different world. People don't just want to come to work for a paycheck. They spend a huge part of their lives at that location, and it's on us to create an environment that not only makes people want to come to work, but makes people want to stay at that location as well. So I would love to see more education along the lines of dealing with your employees.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, that's a really great point, Terry. In fact, I would encourage people to get out and read a book called Drive by Daniel Pink. If you haven't had a chance to read that one yet, he talks about basically motivation and what he calls motivation 3.0, where motivation 2.0 is what we're currently doing, where it's like, okay, you get a bigger paycheck and you got to do more work, and that kind of like put a carrot in front of the horse kind of thing. He talks about motivation 1.0 is just back in the caveman days of just the need to survive. And so we're beyond that, but we've gotten to motivation 2.0, and that's really sunk in. He's talking about motivation 3.0 being, like you said, building that environment where people want to be part of it, want to be part of the purpose and the cause. That they've done lots of scientific studies that once your basic needs are met for what you make and all that kind of stuff, the more money you have doesn't make you happier, that much happier. The money is just a tool to be able to do the things that do make you happy. So it's a really interesting book. It's a great book. I'm just actually wrapping up listening to it on Audible. So I would highly encourage people to do that one. The other thing, Terry, is we've talked about a guy, not the singer-songwriter, but Brian Adams, and he's with a company called Olympus Group, and he has done some talks at SGIA back at ThreadX last year, and some other things like that. And really good. And then he's built his whole business around the fact that he just wants it to be a great place for people to come to work. Beyond that, the rest of it kind of takes care of itself, and he's opened up the books and really kind of opens up for feedback and just makes it a great place for his employees to be. So I'd really love to see him do some more things. I know he's done that speaking and stuff like that, but I have not been able to find things outside of that. So I'm going to try to reach out to him and see if we can get him on the Two Regular Guys podcast.
That would be awesome. Aaron, when he was speaking at ThreadX last year, and he was talking about the way that he brings in new employees and things like that, I thought these are the simplest things in the world to do. Doesn't cost you a penny, but I could just imagine every employee that goes to work for him is just so comfortable coming in there and just feels so welcomed. And I thought, man, what great ideas, just simple ideas for making a great environment for new employees. So yeah, we absolutely need to grab him and get him on the show.
Yeah, cool. And like I said, you've got some great experience in this. I always reference a lot of things that I've learned from you when we're talking about things at production at Pick the Gift and stuff like that. So, maybe we need a show with Terry as the guest. How about that?
I have had many hundreds and hundreds of probably thousands of employees over the years.
Yeah.
I've
and most
seen
of
it
them
all.
still like you. Most of them still like you too. So it's good. Good. All right. Real quick, and I'm talking to Eric here right now. I'm going to go back on some older comments real quick to cover those. And so question was, is Eric teaching any classes at Long Beach? And Eric did follow that up with, Eric is indeed teaching 3 classes at Long Beach and participating in a panel with Madeira. And let's see here. When I was talking a little bit about sublimation, and we talked about the prices of the ink, Todd did follow that comment up with let's not forget the 37 blanks you go through when testing a new product. So yes, that
Excellent point.
is part of the pricing structure. And then Lenora Lewis said, isn't the craft market already heavily into sublimation? How much of an increase do you see? And Lenora, I do believe that yes, the craft market is pretty heavy into that. But I also think that you look at companies like Sawgrass or Caesar getting involved in the sublimation world, and Caesar's very heavily involved in the craft market as well. So I don't think that it would be a stretch to see something happen in a craft store environment. I don't know anything for sure there, but I would not be shocked to walk into a Michael's and see a cheap sublimation printer, and that changes things greatly, because then people are walking in off the street kind of thing. So again, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I don't think that, I've always felt this way, that the more you can have people get involved and talk about it, it wasn't more than 4 or 5 years ago that most people couldn't even say the word sublimation. I still think I should write a whole article about all the different ways I've heard sublimation pronounced. So now people are talking about it, and now you have people out there buying, like in the sports market, volleyball teams are requesting sublimation printed products because those products don't have a hand to them. So when they're diving across the floor, the vinyl is not sticking to the floor and smacking kids' faces into the ground. That's, again, why I wear my goatee. I've got a cut there from that very thing happening. So anyhow, again, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do think we need to be ready for it. And I do think we need to be, what really focused on what sets us apart. So let's see here. I'm trying to just make sure we got all the great comments, because I want to keep everybody involved here. If I'm missing anything, I apologize, but go check out the comments. If you're listening to the podcast version of this, make sure you do get over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/2regularguys, or you can find us on YouTube as well there. And Lenora said, well, UDO didn't kill screen printing. Again, yeah, totally. That is a perfect comment. And,
and I was thinking UDO as you were talking, because there was a screen printing manufacturing company, and their sales manager said to me one time, "Man, I love that UDO." And I'm like, "Well, why?" And he goes, "Because every 100 people that buy that, 3 of them might come to me and say, 'Hey, I want to do this for real,' and would never have come otherwise." So.
Yeah, it does open up a whole new market. And it just kind of brings everything into people's consciousness, and therefore you have a bigger marketplace where they understand why sublimation is good, but why it also, you can't charge pennies for it, why it's not a commodity, so it's right. Cool things that they can do. So all right, so I think we got all that, got the comments. Yes, the article on and Eric could write the companion article on what people have called digitizing. So digitalization, I think, is one of them. Good stuff. All right, cool. Well, Terry, back to my what I'd like to see here. So I'm going to change gears a little bit, but I would like to change gears slightly from what we were talking about with education, and get back to a product that I would like to see in the sublimation world. So I'd like to see a software program service for sublimation to manage jobs, build stores, and more. You've got some great companies out there like Printavo or other similar programs out there. But the problem is sublimation just brings a whole new, the best way to say it, a whole new animal to the whole new beast to this whole thing. So you're basically having to, if you're using something that's out there for screen printing or garments, but you're trying to do sublimation, so maybe you're doing things that aren't apparel items and whatnot. The process is just so different than, making a screen and all of that kind of stuff that I think that if somebody were to focus on a sublimation specific software or somebody that's doing something has a secondary program or a program that just is sublimation or really does kind of focus on sublimation, I think a lot of them have just kind of brought in sublimation as a secondary thought. and not in a negative way. I mean, they're serving their core customers, and so I'm not throwing stones at anybody like Printavo or anybody like that. I think they have great software. I would just like to see somebody actually do something specifically for sublimation. So there we go.
Very good. All right. We're running a little late here.
Shocker.
I know.
So let's keep it going, Terry. What's your next one there?
Okay. So many of us got into this industry as a part-time business, a side hustle to name it what it's called today.
Yep.
So vendors and educators should put together side hustle packages. Don't say, okay, you need all this, and a package where you can get into the business and say to somebody, okay, here's how you can make money evenings and weekends with this package of equipment. Here's how you can pay that money back. And this is a growing opportunity. It's everybody's got a side hustle, right? And
yeah.
so I think that the vendors and educators need to put a little focus on that.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. That's a good one. I'm definitely loving that one for sure. It's actually what, from an education perspective, what Todd and I are focusing on with our success group and kind of building the side hustle into a legitimate business. And so if there were also vendors and other people that are focused on that, I think it would be huge, take the whole industry up. So that's a perfect one, Terry.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So maybe a little bit along the same lines. I'm not real sure, but I always felt like there was a big opportunity for equipment and supplies vendors to have a franchise type program where it's kind of is a business in a box, and something that's really focused on the education. It's someone that's really focused on the education and support. We've seen some of this from groups like Instant Imprints or Big Frog or Printa or Embroider Me. But I'd like to see that go to that next level, and really include, so those guys are kind of bringing in different parts and pieces, and I think that you could have a real good equipment and supplies business just based on that. And a lot of those folks that I mentioned, Instant Imprints, Big Frogs, and Printa, Embroider Me, all those guys, they seem to be focused on the promotional products side of things mainly. The garments for promotional products and stuff like that. Not completely. But I think, in my opinion, there's a huge opportunity to go after some more kind of younger millennial type opportunities. That whole merch thing, I think, is still a big word. YouTube continues to change the way they operate, and you have all of these YouTube stars out there that aren't making the money that they were making. And so merch seems to be what everybody's talking about. You've got some companies like some print on demand companies that are just killing it because of this whole thing. So why not also help those people get into business and help them with the e-commerce side of it and all that other stuff? So that's something I think that I'd like to see. And I also think it's a good opportunity. It's not something I'm planning on tackling, but
I like the idea though, rather than you're not necessarily buying a franchise, but say a supplier says, okay, I can provide you with this printer package or whatever direction you're going with it. I can do all your supplies for you. I can advise you on pricing. I can advise you on this and hey, you don't have to buy a franchise. You can be we'll be basically your consultants, and here's the package to start with, and here's your representative here to call up and ask this question or that question. And so I like the idea of that. So
yeah, cool. That would be great. So if you guys do, if somebody does go ahead and make that, you can just send small royalty checks my way, just a couple million a year. That's all I need.
or there's always buying us a beer and some wings at the next trade show. So, at a minimum.
Yeah, going back to what you were talking about, Terry. Christine says, "Oh, I like that one, Terry. Side hustle packages. Inmart might have to steal that one.
It's free for the taking."
Yep, there you go. Again, just a beer and a chicken wing typically is all we require. And then Todd did follow that up with, "Do it, Christine. We do it with our decal fundraiser packs. The end customer just has to sell." So
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
All right. What's next, Terry?
Okay, Christine already referenced this. Christine's always ahead of the curve on us. She was talking about seeing more women in training, but I'd like to see some new faces in the training arena. And when I walk into a speaker's lounge at a trade show, and I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks in Long Beach, it's like Old Home Week. Every face in there I've known for 20 years, you know.
Yeah.
So and a lot of them from the speaking circuit, not any other place. So and now I'm not necessarily saying I want to give up my spot, but some new faces and new ideas, concepts, techniques are needed to take us to the next level in the industry. And Aaron, I know you're doing some things with the folks at DAX. I don't know if you want to get into that yet.
For sure. I was super honored to get an opportunity to actually work with Scott and Margie on the speaker program at DAX this year. You know, they had a couple of challenges with some other shows on top of it and trying to juggle some things. Now I will be honest, I did not do as much as I would have liked to do for them. They really kind of made it all come together. Scott does a great job kind of coordinating that, and Margie's also just being a part of, you know, what I love about what they do at DAX is that the program's not about, the speakers program is not about, okay, are these people exhibiting there, and you know, so we don't have to pay them kind of thing. They really do think through the whole program. No, I'm not saying the other shows don't do that. So don't send hate mail to me. I know that the other shows work really hard on their programs and whatnot. But you know, I got an opportunity to work with them. You know, Christina mentioned somebody, and I actually was able to work with them. Kayla Gayton is going to be presenting there at DAX this year. You know, awesome. So there's new fresh blood and stuff like that. And so, you know, I've got a list of, by the time I had a chance to help them out, you know, they kind of had everything, people had already sent in all of their requests. So we just kind of had to deal with what we had at the time. But I'm hopeful that I'll be able to also work with them in 2021, and I'll start reaching out to some new people. I've got a long list of people that I'd like to see, you know, share what they have to offer, you know, bringing in some outside folks, you know, like what ThreadX is doing with like a Jay Bear. You know, he doesn't know a thing about printing t-shirts, but boy, he knows a lot about customer experience and all of that stuff. So in fact, he's got another book. Pete mentioned his Hug Your Haters book, but he's got another book, and it just escaped me, but Talk Triggers is the other book that he's got with another guy that I love of his. And basically, anyhow, I won't get into it. Go read Talk Triggers. Just leave it at that. But anyway,
I want to throw in there that Kayla Gayton attended one of my screen printing classes when she was still a teenager, as I recall. Wow. And so Kayla is part of the family that owns and operates Atlas Screen Supply. If anybody does not know.
Yep, for sure. So looking forward to her presentation. Some great stuff there. So yeah, I think that's a great one, Terry. And you know, I actually was talking to Jay Bassell just the other day about that, and I said, I know you said you're not willing to give up your spot, but he actually did give up his spot for a while. You know, for both personal and industry reasons. You know, where he wanted to see some new people show up in those things. So yeah, I think that's good. Again, not to say anything bad about, you know, Terry's been giving seminars for years, and I would go to every one of Terry's seminars all the time, you know, Charlie and Dane. And so great information, but let's just keep more, you know, it's not getting rid of, let's just do more. So yeah, that's really good stuff. All right. Finally, love the new faces and training items. Also more diversity. There's a lot of white males who are speaking, and they're knowledgeable and great, but it would be wonderful to see some other cultural and general perspectives for sure. Absolutely. So
thanks, by the way, Christine, for not saying old white guys. So
all right. So let's see, maybe get to the next one here. So first off, I have to throw out there, I did not get an opportunity to go to Printing United this year. As much as I really wanted to. I had FOMO the whole time, seeing everybody and hearing all of the comments and all of that kind of stuff. But as we've talked about, family does come first. And so I was at Disneyland with the family instead. But so this one is definitely not a knock on anybody, but just an observation from the outside looking in of somebody that wasn't there. And you know, all the excitement around the convergence and all that other stuff. I guess I'd like to kind of understand and hear and see more about what all of those efforts at Printing United has come to fruition. You know, what fruit has been born from that convergence of the paper world with our world, and what advantages have we seen so far, and what advantages can we look forward to in 2020 and beyond, and kind of reaping the benefits of that marriage. So maybe maybe my desire is, let's get a Ford or maybe Amanda from SGIA on when we get a little closer to the next year's Printing United and say, okay, so what did we get from last year that we feel like can be built on and grown here in 2020. So
Aaron, that's something that you and I should probably discuss with multiple people when we're at ThreadX, because I will guarantee everybody there attended Printing United. So that's probably a good question to see what they think about the convergence. So,
yeah, no, that'll be.
I feel like a little sci-fi when we call it the convergence, but
the convergence. Well, and all that stuff we did with. And I just lost her name. I can see her. Deborah. Thank you.
Deborah Korn.
Man. Yeah. And she's like, the print verse or whatever. Yeah. So
Printerverse. Right.
Printerverse. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, next one, Terry, because we're definitely going into bonus time today.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna go grab my last one from last year and put it back into this year. I want to tap back into 2019 and my intention is to have much more training online this year. And Aaron, you and I have been talking about it here for several months. And I have little to your knowledge, I've been working on putting some content together, some kind of new ideas, cool. And so that you and I can talk about it. And Aaron, I just like you did with Eric Campbell, I'm gonna let you put my feet to the fire to get this done. So
okay.
Watch for new content from me online this year.
All right. Well, since this is a public broadcast, let's just go ahead and start that fire right now. When what date does this need to be up by?
Well, I need to. I have 3 different ideas I need to talk to you about before we put a date on it.
All right. So how about this, Terry? How about we say by next week's show, we will have something. Have
a calendar.
A calendar. Yeah. There we
Perfect.
Go.
Yeah.
I'm writing a note. I've gone to basically, if you see you can't see it here right now, but I've pretty much covered most of the walls inside my office here with dry erase. I don't know what board, basically. Yeah. It's a vinyl that isn't put up on the wall. So now I've just started writing with dry erase all over the place now. So
mine's mostly multicolored index cards taped to my wall. So
there you go. And pretty soon, Eric, I think Eric was saying this before we got started. You have the red strings, and we're going to connect the dots, and the conspiracy theories and all that fun stuff. So.
I see Lisa Shaw said, "Put Terry on the spot." Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. So Todd says accountability. So yeah, that's what we do. Cool. All right. Last one here. So this would be number 10. And I'm again stealing from your your thoughts and ideas here, Terry. So but imitation is the biggest form of flattery, correct?
There you go.
So thanks for letting me steal from you. But I going back to kind of the personal wish list, I'd finally want to make Decorators Community a reality and be able to actually explain what it is and have something to show people. I think that'll be a website and just really kind of get that into the world of reality in 2020. We had a great launch. I learned so much from everybody in Fort Worth, us talking about it on the show, us talking about what it all looks like for 2 regular guys and all that other stuff. So I'm really excited to actually kind of take that into the next level and get an opportunity to really focus and do some stuff with that, probably happening into the second quarter after we get through the first round of shows and stuff like that. So I'll put this right back on Terry. He can hold my feet to the fire. So we're going to do that. And as a bonus for me personally, kind of expanding on the Decorators Community thing. So my side of that, so Decorators Community really is supposed to be kind of the hub for education. So Terry's doing some stuff. We're working with Clay over at Curl Trainer. We've worked with Marshall Atkinson. Eric's doing some things. We're going to work with some other folks. I've got a list of people that are educators that we just want to be able to help support them and do other things. But from my side of things, personally, I've really excited to be working with Todd Downing on what we're calling our success group. And it's actually over at oursuccessgroup.com. That actually kicks off next Wednesday with our first training over there. And so for me personally, I want to see that kind of really grow and be part of it. Finishing my Success Principles training course that I started back in June of last year. So my goal was to finish it in 12 months, and I'm still on track for that. So by June of this year, I will be a Jack Canfield Success Principles certified trainer. And, so kind of for me, it's about kind of blurring those lines between, okay, here's the technique of how to screen print. Here's the technique of how to digitize. Here's the, all that kind of stuff. And then here's the technique of how to be in business. And being in business, a lot of people think that, something like the 7 habits or success principles or things like that are for personal growth. And that's absolutely true. But those same habits and principles and things like that are really important for your business growth too. So for me, I want to kind of take that line between, okay, if I'm working on success principles or 7 habits or whatever it is that you're really drawn to, that we incorporate those things into our small businesses as well. So there you go. That's what I'm trying to do in 2020.
That's awesome. That sounds great. And it sounds like both of us come next year may have some answering to do if we don't follow through on on all these things that we've talked about.
Well, that was how we finally got the digital marketing superhero webinar done. Was I finally put it out there after I went to the 1 Day to Greatness Success Principles deal. I said, you know what? I've got to put this out there and actually put a date on it. And
perfect.
So good stuff there. All right, Terry. Well, let's. I'm taking over here, but let's just hear a quick word from our sponsor, Ace Transfer, and then we'll wrap up the show and be ready for next week.
Have you been looking to grow your business or start one in the garment decoration industry? After all, that's why you're listening, right? Ace Transfer Company is located in Springfield, Ohio, and we've provided our customers with high-quality transfers, competitive prices, and great customer service for nearly 30 years. Ace Transfer Company offers a wide variety of garment decoration services, including screen printed transfers, contract screen printing, direct-to-garment or DTG, dye sublimation, signs, banners, heat transfer vinyl, pressure-sensitive vinyl, and more. Use your own designs or have our in-house artists assist you in creating eye-catching transfers. At Ace, we are dedicated to helping your business succeed, so print your vision at Ace. For more information, visit our website, acetransfercompany.com. Send us an email at acetransco@gmail.com. That's ACETRANSCO@gmail. Or give us a call at 800-525-3126.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks to David Shaw, good friend, and everyone over at Ace Transfer. And Aaron, do you want to talk a little bit about what Eric's got coming up?
Yeah, definitely. So real quick here, Eric is, as we talked about, we're working on some things together, and you should see the pace quicken on this here, because coming up March 28th, 2020, is Demystifying Digitizing, taught by our very own Eric Campbell. And it's one of his most popular classes from the trade show floors. And so he's excited to teach it online. Going to talk about better running, bolder, more beautiful embroidery with a faster cycle from concept to completion. Details and bonus content are available by signing up over at ericcampbell.com/demystifying-digitizing-webinar. So if you can go over and click on that, there's already a lot of people signed up wanting more information. So for those of you that have signed up already, it is coming soon. Eric and I will be kind of putting some of the bows onto that information and getting it out there. And then we'll start getting people signed up for that class. And so I'm really excited to be a small part of that. And I've always looked at Eric's stuff and gone, my gosh, dude, you give so much great content. Like he had an ebook basically just from the free stuff that he gave after a free webinar he did for Madeira. I was like, dude, this is great stuff, So anyhow, looking forward to that. Terry, what do you have coming up here?
All right. Well, my complete screen printing business course, I'm going to be at Atlas Screen Supply in Nashville, February 15th and 16th. I'm going to be at Workhorse Products in Phoenix, February 29th and March 1st. January 16th, I'll be presenting 10 things you need to know about DTG printing. And that's going to be the day before Impressions Expo in Long Beach. And that is a 1 to 2:15 event. On January 18th on the Long Beach show floor, I'm going to be presenting I'm a new screen printer. Now what? And that's going to be a free event from 12 to 12:45. And I'll be at DAX Kansas City doing a seminar called On Being a Great, all caps, On Being a Great Screen Printer, Saturday, February 22nd. And February 23rd and 25th, the two regular guys are going to be on the air and interviewing guests throughout ThreadX 2020, powered by SGIA, right here in Scottsdale, Arizona. All my upcoming 2020 classes and events are at terrycombs.com under the tab tour dates. How about you, Aaron?
Excellent. Yeah, so I've got a couple of things coming up, but I do have to go back and Eric, sorry to change gears here real quick, but there was a dad joke that I just want to make sure we got in before the close of the show. So Clay at Grill Trainer said, I was going to tell you a fighting joke, but I forgot the punchline. So there we go. So now I just want to make sure that you guys know for 2020, this is expected. We expect you guys to bring the dad jokes throughout the course of all of the programs, and we'll have to make sure that we have a couple too, Terry. So
exactly. All right. Well,
stuff. All right. So I've already talked about our success group. If you want to I won't go too much more into that, but a series of 5 success keys that we're starting off with. So it's oursuccessgroup.com. If you want to check that out, you can still sign up all the way up until we do the first video on Wednesday of next week. Let's see here. I will be actually out doing some live presentations. I'm excited to get back on the road a little bit. Digital marketing, growing your business with email marketing. I will be presenting at the 2020 International Awards and Personalization Expo. That's happening Tuesday, February 18th at 4:30 in the evening. So I've got those switched. So that's the second class I'm teaching there. It's out in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I've heard really great things about the Awards Expo, so I'm excited to kind of see what's going on there. And before that, though, the first one I'll be teaching is Social Media 101, Why and How, and that'll be happening again on February 18th from 8 to 9:30 in the morning. And then the next day, I will be part of a sublimation panel on Wednesday the 19th at 6 p.m. I believe our good friend, Jimmy Lamb, will be part of that panel as well, so looking forward to that. And then heading right over to DAX Kansas City from there for all the great stuff that you talked about doing, but we're really excited to have a decorators community booth there at DAX Kansas City. And but I will be teaching there as well, starting an e-commerce business, what works and what didn't. So that'll be happening February 21st at 12:30 in the afternoon. And we will also be having panel discussions there on the show floor and all sorts of good stuff happening at DAX. So daxshow.com, no S at the end, DAX show. There you go. All right, Terry. Well, we've come to the close of another show. So thanks for tuning into our 10 things we'd like to see. Love to keep the comments coming on things you guys would like to see. So just keep putting them here on the videos, either on YouTube or on Facebook. Lots of activity on Facebook, obviously, but good stuff going on there. So keep those happening and posting, and let us know the 10 things you want to see in 2020.
Absolutely. We want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, and all our sponsors, Impressions Expo, Printavo, and Ace Transfer Company.
Excellent. So next week, as we mentioned, we're going to be talking predictions and opportunities for heat printing in 2020 with Josh Ellsworth of Stalls. So really looking forward to that show, and it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.